Hi dear students, welcome to S&S Bioinfo. Today's topic is human heart, its structure and function. Human heart is one of the most important parts of the human circulatory system. Heart is a muscular organ which is made up of cardiac muscles. It is muscular organ and it is made up of cardiac muscles. Cardiac muscles. Cardiac muscles are involuntary muscles. Those type of muscles work not according to our will or wish. They will work continuously throughout our life from our birth to death. It is a contractile organ. Contractile organ. Contractile organ. Contractile means as it is made up of cardiac muscles, these muscles are auto-excitable and it has elasticity and excitability so that it is a contractile organ. This contractile organ pumps blood to different parts of the body to distribute various components to the cells. Our heart is reddish brown in color, which is located in the thoracic cavity in between the lungs. First of all, let's learn about the morphology, the external features of our heart. Our heart is somewhat conical in shape. So you look at this diagram. This is the upper part or anterior part of the heart. This is the lower part or posterior part of the heart. The posterior part is somewhat conical. The upper part is broad. As our heart is very important organ, very thin organ or delicate organ, it is protected by double membranous sac called pericardium. Pericardium. These pericardial sacs contain pericardial fluid, which reduces the friction between the heart and the other organs of the thoracic cavity. That's our lungs. And also it protects the heart from mechanical injuries to a certain extent. Then that's about our morphology. The morphology, the external features. Reddish brown in color, shape, then pericardium with the pericardial fluid. Next, let's study the internal structure or anatomy of the heart. Heart has mainly 4 chambers. So look at this diagram. This is one chamber, this is the second chamber, then third chamber, fourth chamber. So it is made up of 4 chambers, 2 auricles or atria, 2 ventricles. 2 auricles or atria and 2 ventricles. 2 ventricles. Here you look at this, it has a right and left parts. So the first one is called right atrium. This is right atrium. This one is left atrium. This blue part is the right part of the heart, the white part is the left part of the heart. This is right atrium, left atrium. Then here the third part is right ventricle. The next one, the left ventricle, fourth part. Then is it clear now? The 4 chambers are right and left atria, right and left ventricles. These are the 4 chambers of the heart. See, then the wall of the atria. The wall is thin comparatively. See, this one, this is the wall. This is also the wall of the atria. So, the wall of the atria is thin, while the wall of the ventricles are thick. So, thick walls. So, atria have thin walls, while the ventricles have thick walls. So, atria just pump blood to the respective ventricles only, while the ventricles pump blood to different parts of the body. In order to pump the blood to different parts of the body, ventricles have more strength, then so that they are thicker in appearance. Then the right and left, let's come to the point, right and left atrium. The right and left atrium is separated by a wall, interatrial septum. What is it? Interatrial septum. Interatrial septum, or in short form we can write IAS. Here I can show you. So the wall here, the wall in between the right atrium and the left atrium, that is IAS, that is interatrial septum. There is a wall. So similarly, in between the right ventricle and the left ventricle, there is another wall. This is another wall, that is interventricular septum, or IVS. Interventricular septum, or IVS. Here I just write IVS. This is an interventricular septum. Why there is a separation between the atria and the ventricle? To separate the oxygenated blood from the deoxygenated blood. In order to separate these two blood, then there is a particular wall in between the respective atria and the ventricles. Why there is such separation in mammals like human beings? Because as we are mammals, we need high energy for various activities and also to maintain body temperature, so that our blood is separated as like oxygenated and deoxygenated. So the oxygenated blood is pumped to various parts of the body through arteries. The deoxygenated blood will be collected by the heart through veins. Here you look at the diagrammatic representation of heart once again. Then I just draw the chambers of the heart, 2 atria, then 2 ventricles, then the right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle. So these atria are separated by IAS, that is interatrial septum. Then the ventricles are separated by IVS, interventricular septum, while the atria and ventricles are separated by a horizontal wall or septum called interatrioventricular septum. Atrioventricular septum. Okay, these are the walls in between the chambers of the heart. Next, let's study about the walls that are present in the human heart. So, in the right side of the heart, there is a specific wall with 3 flaps. That wall is called tricuspid valve. In between the right atrium and the right ventricle, here you can see this valve. This is a valve. That valve is called the tricuspid valve. Tricuspid valve. Tricuspid valve. That means that's on the right side, in between the right atrium and the right ventricle. Then tricuspid valve. Tricuspid valve. So in between the left atrium and left ventricle, here left atrium and left ventricle, you can see a valve. That is bicuspid valve with the 2 flaps of structure. That is bicuspid valve or mitral valve. So here you can see bicuspid or mitral valve. So these are the 2 walls in between the atria and the respective ventricles. On right side there is tricuspid valve. On left side bicuspid or mitral valve. The third type of valves are semilunar valves. Semilunar valves are half moon shaped valves. Semilunar valves. These are present in between the ventricles and the respective blood vessels. Then these are present in between the right ventricle and the pulmonary aorta. Pulmonary aorta. So this is right ventricles. You can see it goes as a blood vessel, the main blood vessel, pulmonary aorta. This pulmonary aorta divides to form the left and the right pulmonary arteries. These arteries get into the respective lungs. The left pulmonary artery goes to the left lung, while the right pulmonary artery goes to the right lungs. You know that the artery that carries impure blood, the only artery that carries impure blood is the pulmonary artery. So all other arteries carry pure blood. So the semilunar valves are present in between the right ventricle and the pulmonary aorta. As it is the major one, it is aorta. Aorta divides to form right and left artery, pulmonary arteries. So the next that the semilunar valves are present in between the left ventricle and the aorta. See the left ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. This left ventricle is continued as you look at this arrow, this position of the arrows, then it is the aorta. This aorta distribute blood to different parts of the body. So there is a valve in between the left ventricle and the aorta. Then that is called as, that is also semilunar valves. They are half moon shaped valves. So do you know the functions of valves? These valves prevent the backward flow of blood. So here the tricuspid and bicuspid valve, when the blood is pumped from the atria to the ventricles, the backward flow of blood is prevented by the shutdown of tricuspid and bicuspid valve. Similarly, when the ventricles pump blood to different parts of the body, that is the backward flow of blood is prevented by another set of valves called semilunar valves. And did you get the function of valves? Prevents backward flow, the backward flow of blood. Next one is about the associated blood vessels of the human heart. They are number 1, superior vena cava, Second one, inferior vena cava, Then third one, pulmonary aorta, This pulmonary aorta is having two parts, pulmonary right and left pulmonary arteries. Then fourth one is systemic aorta. Then the fifth one is pulmonary veins. The first one, superior vena cava. Vena cava is the largest veins in the human body. The superior vena cava, here you can see the down arrow, superior vena cava, the inferior vena cava. These two vena cavas collect the impure blood or the carbon dioxide rich blood from the different parts of the body. Superior vena cava collects the impure blood from the upper part of the body, while the inferior vena cava collects the impure blood from the lower part of the body. So finally, the impure blood is reached at the right atrium. Then from the right atrium, it goes to the right ventricle. Then from there, then it goes to the pulmonary aorta. This is the main aorta, carries the impure blood from the right ventricle. So this pulmonary aorta, this is the pathway of pulmonary aorta. This pulmonary aorta, pulmonary, the word is related to lungs. To distribute blood to the respective lungs, the left and right lungs. Here you can see the left pulmonary artery, aorta divides to form arteries. Then this is the right pulmonary arteries. So the pulmonary aorta divides to form the right pulmonary artery and the left pulmonary artery. Those pulmonary arteries go to the lungs for what? Because as it is carrying the impure blood, it goes to the lungs for purification or oxygenation of the blood. Then systemic aorta. After purification, that blood is reached here through the pulmonary veins. The pulmonary veins, here you can see pulmonary vein. You can see only one vein, but the veins are present from both sides, right side from the and also from the left side. These pulmonary veins from the lungs that carry what? Pure blood to the left atrium, then to the left ventricle, then it goes to the aorta, that is systemic aorta. So right and left pulmonary veins bring the pure blood to the left atrium, then to the left ventricle, then it goes to the systemic aorta. And these are the associated blood vessels of heart. Superior vena cava collects impure blood from the upper part of the body. Inferior vena cava collects the impure blood from the lower part of the body. Pulmonary aorta, right ventricles pump the deoxygenated blood to the lungs. Then pulmonary aorta divides to form right and left pulmonary arteries. The only artery that carries impure blood, that is pulmonary artery. So after oxygenation at the lungs, what happens? The pure blood is pumped back to the heart through the pulmonary veins, the only vein that carries pure blood. Then it goes to the left atrium, left ventricle, then to the systemic aorta. These are the associated blood vessels of human heart. The next part is the circulatory pathway of blood. That means let's learn more about how does circulation of blood take place through the heart and associated blood vessels. Then here you look at this, the right part and the left part. The right part is shaded with the blue color and the left part is white in color to separate, to identify the deoxygenated blood from the oxygenated blood. The right part indicates the impure blood while the left part indicates the pure blood. So here the right atrium, right ventricle contains the impure blood. The left atrium, left ventricle contains the pure blood. Then let's start from the body part. As heart is a pumping organ, it pumps blood to different parts of the body. Different parts of the body means, that it pumps blood to the lungs for purification, for oxygenation of the blood. Similarly, the aorta, from the left side, it pumps blood to different parts of the body. That's the meaning of the heart pumps blood to different parts of the body. So let's learn how it happens in human body. So let's begin from the body parts. First of all, body parts. So from body parts, the deoxygenated blood is collected by veins. Then finally they are collected by the vena cava, superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. Then reach to the right atrium of the heart. Then body parts to the vena cava, right and left vena cava, then to the right atrium, then right atrium to the right ventricle, then it goes to the pulmonary arteries, to the lungs, respective lungs. Till here you can see I have written with the blue ink to represent the circulation of impure blood, the deoxygenated blood. So the vena cavas, the superior vena cava and inferior vena cava collect the impure blood from the body parts and gives to the right atrium. See, this is the inferior vena cava, this is superior vena cava. It collects impure blood and they finally reach to the right atrium. And from the right atrium, it goes to the right ventricle. Then from the right ventricle, it goes to the pulmonary arteries. The left pulmonary artery and the right pulmonary artery. That means to the lungs. For what purpose? For purification. You know, lungs are the site of exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So, the oxygenation process takes place at the alveolar site of the lungs. After the purification, after oxygenation, the blood contains the oxygen. But till here, the blood contains more carbon dioxide, less oxygen. While from here onwards, after purification, the blood contains more oxygen. So from the lungs, it goes to the respective left atrium. Then that is, here you can see, so pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein. This pulmonary veins, not only one, pulmonary veins from the respective lungs brings the pure blood to the to the left atrium. So the only vein that carries the pure blood is pulmonary vein. So after oxygenation from the lungs, pulmonary veins bring pure blood to where? To the left atrium. To the left atrium. From there it goes to the left ventricle. Then to the aorta. Then to arteries. Then body parts. So this is a circulatory pathway of the blood. So the impure blood is collected from the body parts by the superior and inferior vena cava. Then it goes to the right atrium. Then right atrium, it goes to the right ventricle. So that the blood is pumped from the right atrium to the right ventricle with the help of contractile force. Later I will explain about it. Then from the right ventricle, it goes to the pulmonary arteries, right and left pulmonary arteries. Then to the that means to the respective lungs for what? Purification. Thereafter, after purification, the pure blood here I can separate that circulation of impure blood and circulation of pure blood. So pure blood from the lungs go to the pulmonary veins, then pulmonary veins then to the left atrium, then left atrium to the left ventricle. Pulmonary vein, left atrium, left ventricles, then systemic aorta. Or simply I have written aorta. Then it divides to form that arteries like this. Arteries. So it distributes blood to different parts of the body. How this pumping of blood from the atria and the ventricles happen is because of the rhythmic contraction of the heart. So the rhythmicity of the heart is began from the particular position called the SA node, the pacemaker. Pacemaker, SA node or pacemaker. Pacemaker. This pacemaker is made up of a special kind of nodal tissue. It is auto-excitable. It doesn't require any external stimulus for excitation. This nodal tissue is called the pacemaker or SA node as it initiates the rhythmicity of the heart. Rhythmicity means contractility of the heart. That chambers of the heart contracts then relax. This contraction phase is initiated by the pacemaker. So this pacemaker is connected to the wall of the atria and the ventricle. So the wall of it spreads all over the walls of the atria and the ventricles. When the contraction begins at the SA node or pacemaker, first of all it spread to the respective walls of the atria. So that what happens? The atria pump blood to the respective ventricles. When the atria contract, then it pumps blood to the respective ventricles. Similarly, numerous nerves that are distributed in the wall of ventricles. So the contraction spread to the wall of ventricles. So the ventricles contract and pump blood to the various parts of the body. As it initiates the rhythmicity of the heart, it is called the pacemaker of the heart. So, this is the way the contraction and relaxation of the heart. The contraction phase is called systole, while the relaxation phase is called diastole. Systole, and diastole. Systole is the contraction phase, while diastole is the relaxation phase. So this is all such alternative contraction and relaxation causes the rhythmicity, heartbeat of the heart. Then heart produces two sounds, the lub sound and the dub sound. First heart sound is lub sound. The second heart sound is dub sound, lub dub sound. This lub sound is produced by the closure of the tricuspid and bicuspid valve. You know, on the right side there is a valve called tricuspid. This is a tricuspid valve. This is bicuspid valve. These two valves shut down soon after pumping the blood from the atria to the respective ventricles, so that it creates a particular sound called lub sound. The second sound is dub sound. The dub sound is created by the semilunar valves. Semilunar valves are present in between the respective ventricles and the blood vessels, like pulmonary aorta and the systemic aorta. In between, the semilunar valves are present. While pumping the blood to the respective blood vessels from the respective ventricles, the semilunar valves shut down immediately to prevent the backward flow of blood. That creates a second sound, the dub sound. Lub dub sound. That's a heartbeat, heart sounds. Is it clear now? I hope you understood the portion well. Then today we have learnt about the morphology, the anatomy, the structure of human heart and its function, the circulatory pathway of blood. Then I hope you understood it well. Then thank you and have nice moments.